So like if they search on Google, go to your website and they review, okay, your services, all of that, but your social media channels are going to tell more of a story of who you are and essentially what you're about as a business. And so they're very good to pair, but it's also like if you don't have anything on your social media and it's like you haven't posted since like 2020 or anything like that, they're going to be like, are they still in business? Like, what's going on? And then they'll just move on to the next one.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Chris with the Becoming Elite podcast, a podcast created to interview some of the most elite individuals amongst society. Today, I have Madisyn Wasson, owner of Wasson Virtual Solutions, which is a business management and social media management company created to help you advance your business. How are we doing, Madisyn?
So excited to be here.
Yeah, it's funny because you're literally down the road from me, but we're still doing it virtual.
Right. Yes. Very close.
But what better way, right? Well, but you are owner of Wasson Virtual Solutions. Let's talk about, I guess we'll kind of start out first. Like we've known each other since we were little. Like we grew up in the same town. Our families really knew each other. And then we both kind of like split our own ways, right? You kind of went off to school, Iowa State, I believe, right?
Yep. I went through Iowa State. Yes.
Yeah. And then what was your degree at Iowa State?
My degree was a bachelor in kinesiology with health and science, with a minor in exercise science.
Yeah. So when we look at that degree, does that apply to any part of your business you do now?
It does not. It does not apply whatsoever. It's kind of crazy because in some aspects it does with like certain client work, having like that background, but as far as the majority of everything that I do, it doesn't apply, which is crazy. But it's funny how paths go different ways and you kind of learn and grow, from graduating college.
Yeah, absolutely. So your business now is more of a business management, like a virtual business management for companies. And then also you have your specialty in social media, which a lot of people have no idea what's going on with social media. So that's probably a huge advantage for you. Kind of tell us a little bit how your story started, your exercise science major coming out of college, where you kind of went into some management positions, and then kind of where you led out to where you are now and started that virtual business management and social media.
Yeah, so kind of a roadmap, I guess, into like my professional background. So right into college, my sister and I actually started a boutique where we created our own necklaces and then realized from there that that was not sustainable for growth. So then we added in, different types of inventory and all that good stuff. Well, my sister and I kind of went different directions. Also, she was in Ottumwa, I was in Ames, and it just wasn't working. So we ended up selling that business. I think it was my second year in college. We sold that off to somebody else that then kind of took the reins from there. And so it was actually in selling that I knew someday I wanted to own my own business. I just didn't know what that looks like. And so then from there, I graduated with kinesiology, went to work for a chiropractic office as an office manager, learned some great knowledge there on my professional background. I then also I thought I wanted to go into more sales. So I went into medical sales with telepsychiatry, where I would travel around, go to different jails and hospitals and kind of sell the service that was desperately needed here in Iowa. But then I kind of reflected and I was like, sales are great and that is a service that is needed, but it just wasn't a passion of mine. I was more into management and kind of helping build, teams up and all that. So I ended up at a dental office as a practice manager where I had a team and then kind of also helped to support the dentist in different areas, of management, of overseeing like metrics and all of that good stuff. And so then it was from there that I had a really good friend that was succeeding in online business management. And it just really spoke to me. I was like, this is definitely something that I would love to do because I would be able to help tons of different kinds of businesses, which I like to do. And I wasn't just set to just one office. And so from there, I became an online business manager, which is a subcontractor. So it works perfect for like smaller size businesses that aren't ready to hire a manager, but they do want that expertise to like basically have a pulse on their business, and kind of help with different things from like metric to team management to holding them accountable, to doing like strategy sessions of ways that they can advance and grow forward. Just not having to fill a seat and have somebody in the office that's like traditional, right? A full time employee at 40 hours. But a lot of small town businesses need that expertise to grow. They just don't have the budget or funds or anything like that, or sometimes even enough to keep somebody busy at 40 hours a week. So I'm finding that it's just so beneficial to those businesses to have that expertise, but not have to hire a full time person.
Yeah, absolutely. And you definitely have that background of you said you kind of been with the medical side, been with a clinic there, so you kind of know that realm. I know us talking before that you kind of help out mostly with a couple medical clinics as well, but then you also have the
Mhm.
other side of working like the boutique and sales and stuff like that to be able to manage those as well. So you kind of have the full
Mhm.
realm of, hey, there's not one specific entity that like, hey, I'm only doing health clinics, but then
Mhm.
I also have these other specialties I can help out with as well and be that business
Yeah.
manager in the office. Take us kind of through, how do people kind of reach out to you based on that? Like,
Mhm.
do you get people from all over the place? Like someone go onto your website, kind of reach out and be like, hey, we're looking for someone to kind of
Mhm.
take control of our office and help us out. And then kind of what does that entail for you being a virtual? Because I mean,
Mhm.
you're in Iowa, like you have someone out in like Texas, California that you're running their practice, something you've
Mhm.
probably never physically seen, but you're still managing
Yeah.
their office.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because a lot of my clients are everywhere, which is really fun because I'm able to kind of see different areas and different levels of businesses. So how they've essentially found me is through social media or word of mouth. You know, they contact me either through social media or through my website. And then from there, it's just kind of, what their needs are. And we jump on, go through a discovery call, and then we meet weekly just because virtually it's really hard, and having a person in person, you're able to like go to their office and check in. So communication is something that is really important, especially being a virtual business manager. So we have open communication every day through like Slack and Boxer are just some side communication applications that I use just to make sure that I'm in communication with them and they feel fully supported, even though having somebody virtual, which I know it sounds very foreign to be like, how does someone manage my business without being in my office? And it is possible. Like it's so cool to see growth and everything virtually actually not being in an office, which is kind of fun. But the key is just open communication, and it kind of grows from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're probably not just working with someone that's like an individual. So like my office, I'm very set up. Just, hey, I'm the owner, and then I have another associate. So there's two of us. So it'd be kind of easy to
Hmm.
micromanage this office. Whereas, do you have mainly places that are small like this, or are you looking at other places that have like big teams as well?
So it's a mixture. So I have a mixture of clients. So I have some where it's mostly just like one off, where it's just the business owner and myself, and then we have, other subcontractors on the team. Or I have a CEO that has a bigger team. So she has about 5 team members that do different tasks and stuff. And so I'm able to work with her to delegate. So then she's able to focus on the things that she does best. So it's honestly just a mixture of, one-on-one versus team members. And that's a nice thing about like with my background is because I do have like the smaller scale, and then also like, the practice manager where I was overseeing like a bigger team. It's kind of nice to be able to jump back and forth, and it's challenging, so both sides bring their own challenges, but that's, it's fun in that aspect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, definitely with those. So when you go into a practice, are you, or not, I guess not practice, I'm looking at myself kind of on that
Yeah.
situation. But when you're going into a business, you're kind of looking at it, hey, how can we advance your business a little bit more, trying to get you
Mhm.
into a full realm? What are you mainly looking at? And then also like, we'll kind of tack on that social media aspect because you've gone through the
Mhm.
social media management, and then what does that look like without
Mhm.
giving the full hints? But
Yeah.
like, how do you help manage their social media and then help them grow that way as well?
Uh-huh. Yeah, so we'll start with the online business management. So kind of how that works is essentially we'll go through everything that the business owner is doing for operations and figure out like, okay, what are some of the things on your plate that you could delegate out so you can focus on sales, you can focus on getting out there and networking while the operations are kind of being taken care of, on the back end, whether that's, there's a launch coming up or a new product or, getting people into, your office, just all the operations are being handled so they can focus on other aspects to grow, that needle forward or to move the needle forward. And then with social media, so social media, I think you kind of hit on at the beginning. It's always changing. Like it is always changing. And so with that, it's just kind of working with the small businesses around here to create a strategy that keeps them in front of their potential client. So the strategy looks different for everyone. I don't have a client that is essentially the same. I have like from tree removal to epoxy to dental offices to chiropractor to, I mean, it's very, very wide range of businesses. And so each strategy looks different, but at the end of the day, it's mostly just getting them out in front of their potential customers and allowing them to be seen. So in the instance that somebody's like, I need X, Y, and Z, they know that they've now gone through the know, like, trust through social media, and they know who to call. So it's just keeping them in front of their ideal audience with consistent content and content that that resonates with them, that when it comes to time where they need that service, then they're like, I know exactly who to call, and they have that information in front of them. Because I like to say social media is modern day yellow pages, where before, a long time ago, you could go to the yellow pages and search chiropractor, and you'd have a ton of them there. But now social media speaks more on each individual company. So, if you're like, I need a chiropractor, and you go and you look on the website and then you want to learn more detail, you'll probably go to their social media and see who are they, what are they about, do they have any reviews, are they teaching me anything? Does anything hit home with who I am and what I'm looking for? And so it just kind of takes yellow pages and it increases it if you use it correctly. It can benefit your business in that manner.
Absolutely. And I definitely agree with that. Like, it's definitely the yellow pages of the society we live in now,
Mm-hmm.
because what's your number one, number one thing you're going to do is you're going to Google that company, and then you're going to
Mm-hmm.
see, hey, how many reviews? What do the reviews really look like? But then what's the next bullet point right underneath of their on Google is going to be their social media aspects, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, and
Yep.
people are going to dive right into that. And especially with what your population and the population that's growing now,
Mm-hmm.
our office here is very specific to the generations we're really looking for. So we're looking people that want to move. A lot of that's usually Facebook or Instagram, and that's where people really find us. Even and then Google being
Mm-hmm.
our number one, but of course those people are going to go and look and see, hey, what are we doing in the office
Right.
to kind of bring them in?
Yes, yeah. And I like to tell people that like a website is just a starting place. So like if they search on Google, go to your website and they review, okay, your services, all of that, but your social media channels are going to tell more of a story of who you are and essentially what you're about as a business. And so they're very good to pair, but it's also like if you don't have anything on your social media and it's like you haven't posted since like 2020 or anything like that, they're gonna be like, are they still in business? Like, what's going on? And then they'll just move on to the next one. So it's just, super important. And that's what I tell my clients is just to be consistent in whatever manner that means to you, but just putting something out there so people aren't like, are they in business? What's going on? Why don't they have social media? And then they'll just jump to the next one that they have seen that are utilizing, that marketing avenue.
Yeah, absolutely. So we would say step behind Google, like social media is definitely one of those aspects that, like, hey, a newer company, even older companies should
Mhm.
probably be in some sort of realm of, hey, we got to be in some sort of constant flow on our social media to make sure
Mhm.
that we're present.
Right. Yes. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely hard. And is that something you kind of help your clients out with as well, to try to make sure that, hey, they're on a constant
Mhm.
measure of getting content out there? Do you kind of like create a plan, a schedule,
Mhm.
videos, pictures, or kind of that aspect, and getting them to kind of be involved? How do you guys set that up?
Yeah, so it all kind of starts with like budgets. So obviously, there's so many different things you can do with social media, but if, their budget isn't necessarily there yet, because I'm working with a lot of small businesses,
Yep.
we start with their budget and then from there kind of figure out like, okay, what can we do with this to make sure they're consistent and they are hitting their target audience, and just kind of get creative in that, whether that is adding in video or, a certain number of posts or what that looks like, and then just getting very intentional with the amount that we can do. So like a majority of clients will do probably about 15 posts a month. So that's, roughly 3 a week. I'm like, did I
Is
do
that
my math right?
including like Facebook and Instagram, or is that
Yes.
including just social media as a whole?
So that would be mostly Facebook and Instagram. Some companies do want, to do other platforms like LinkedIn. I don't really do much with Twitter or TikTok, just because in that manner, there's a lot of video editing and stuff like that. And a lot of my clients I work with, they don't have a ton of video. So we mostly just utilize the platforms that we can, which are mostly Facebook and Instagram. A lot of, honestly, the clients I work with, their ideal client is still on Facebook, where it be like more local, like the areas that they serve. So we just try to make sure to get everything out we can on Facebook, and then also utilize Instagram as like a backup resource, just with like the demographics that are on Facebook and Instagram, with like the age limits and the gender and all that stuff, where Instagram is mostly going to be female, with ages up to 30, where Facebook is going to be male and female, 30 plus. So utilizing those demographics as well to who their ideal client is, and kind of going from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, our age range isn't really far off, but you've kind of seen that whole Facebook. I mean, I think Facebook came around when I was in high school, and then it kind of grew in there. It used to be that whole, you can only get Facebook when you were in college. I think you had to have a college
Mm-hmm.
address. And then Instagram, I don't even know when Instagram came around. I think that's when I was in later half of college, but it's kind of interesting. What are your aspects and kind of thoughts on how that's all changed and to where it is today, being, hey, that it Facebook is that yellow pages for businesses and how we promote
Mm-hmm.
ourselves.
Yeah. So it's always changing. Like it literally, I feel like it's always changing. Like Instagram came out with threads to kind of compete with Twitter, so it's just always changing, but it's figuring out how to adapt, because businesses honestly will get stuck in the past if they don't adapt to modern technology. And one of those nowadays is utilizing social media. That would be a technology that all businesses should adapt to, because that's just where the future is. The future is on social media. I mean, you look at younger people, even than us. Like I hate to say we're old, but like it's like, it's kind of crazy. But we look at people younger than us, and it's like they're always on their phones. They're constantly on their phones. Even like I'll admit I'm probably on my phone more than I should be. And so that's just constantly, putting businesses in front of my face that I'm like, oh my gosh, X, Y, and Z happened. This is relatable to me. And so it's just utilizing that platform as a modern day technology that all businesses should definitely be on. I'll keep referring to it, the yellow pages. It's just advancing that forward. And it's, if utilized in the correct way, it can absolutely help increase sales, increase clients, all of that good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you definitely nailed it on the head when you say it's kind of that yellow pages, but then when you dive into someone's Facebook, or if I'm going to look at your business, I am going to know who you are and the type of person you are,
Mhm.
especially like if I look at Wasson Virtual Solutions, like I know that, hey, you're going to be a hard worker, a family person, and then also you're going to put your team together. So like you kind of learn who you are, and then you're going to get that
Mhm.
aspect of the business, which is really cool. And I think you really nailed it on the head there, saying, hey, like, it kind of describes the businesses as a whole.
Yeah, 100%. It tells a story, and everybody loves a good story.
Everyone does love a good story. If you were kind of look at social media and the aspect of helping a business without giving out your expertise, right? What would you say is like kind of that, hey, that number one thing for businesses looking at social media as that avenue of the yellow pages that they should be doing?
Just honestly, in a short phrase, just get yourself out there. Like, just if you don't have a page, just create one and just post, as you see fit, and getting it constant. Like if beginning of the year you're like, that's a goal, just set down and do it one day at a time. So like batch content, creation is a thing that I tell all my clients to do, is just choose one day, batch as much content out as you can. If you're feeling creative, if you're feeling inspired, that's always the perfect day to do it. And then just schedule it all out. So Facebook, I know you said without sharing all your secrets, but this would just be an easy way for business owners to do it.
Well, we don't
Is
want
just
to take away your business here.
I'm happy to help as many people as possible. And so then, after you do the batch creation, Meta has a free resource that you can use. If delegating this out isn't in your budget, you can use Meta Planner and just schedule out as much as you can. And then that way it's out and you can focus on other things. But, if creating content and, all that isn't your expertise, then that's where I can kind of jump in and help you with everything. I like to call it a done for you, where essentially you just send me some ideas. I create everything, the strategy behind it, the copywriting, the creation, get it scheduled out, and all you have to do is hit a link to approve, which makes it super simple for business owners who have a million things on their plates and they are like, I just don't want to do this, but I know it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's kind of dive into that too. So you are
Mhm.
a small business owner. What has
Yes.
that life been like, especially transitioning from being a manager at offices, other places? I know you grew up small town like I did, same town actually.
Yep.
But that small town feel, your family was a small business owner as well. So have you kind of taken those skills, those learnings, and then really applied it to what you do now? Because I know
Mhm.
even your husband's even part of a small business as well.
Yes, yeah. So it has been, honestly, owning my own business has been a dream since I've started. So it's been so cool to see, the growth of everything. But it's funny because when you work for somebody, it's like 40 hours and you can walk away. And you can probably relate to this. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're working 80 hours, but it's like the best, time that you're dedicating to your business because it essentially kind of comes your baby. But yeah, owning my own small business has just been a dream. I've loved every aspect of it, the challenging, the growth, the, ups and downs, the ebb and flows that comes with it. But it's just kind of amazing because like my dad owns his own business and my husband's a farmer. So essentially, that's still considered a small business. And it's rewarding. I wouldn't change it for anything. It allows me, to also still, if my kids are sick, be able to still have them and still have, the passion of owning my own business. So it's a great mix to be able to be a mom and to be present in that, but then to also be more than a mom, to own my own business, and kind of, have both passions that are, I don't know, they just make me happy, both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you want, especially being a small business owner. And then you kind
Yeah.
of look at it too. I've kind of seen you grow with your business, but you're starting
Mhm.
to add team members. What has that
Yeah.
been like for you?
Yeah, so it's been fun. It's definitely been interesting. So the team members that I have on my team, very similar to me as an online business manager, is they're subcontractors. So I'm able to grow and also help my businesses on like that higher level because I'm able to pull in experts without having to pay them, like a full-time employee. So like I have a strategist who is an expert in, social media, but she's essentially not full-time. So it's nice to be able to bring in experts to help these small town businesses, with that area of expertise in each, subcontractor that I have on my team. But it's been so fun, to have them join me and also to have them, be excited about, seeing great results and stuff that clients are experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what is, if we look at that with your small business and virtual solutions, like, what is your main goal to kind of look into the future? Like, what do we want to see with your company?
Yeah. So I always say that like I celebrate other successes before my own. I've just always been that way. And so like one of the goals I was actually just writing out is I just want all of my clients that I have to experience the most growth in 2024. So it's like figuring out like how I can help them on that level. And then also for like me is also like with them, having growth, like what does growth look like for me? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what the growth looks like for me, because I'm happy with where I'm at right now and bringing in, the growth is already happening where I'm able to bring in subcontractors that do have those expertise of, either that's helping with content creation or strategy or analyzing analytics on like a higher level, and kind of partnering with me on different things that we can do within the social media to increase their reach and, all of that stuff. So my growth for 2024 is mostly I just want to see a bigger impact with my social media clients and also with my online business management clients. And, it's kind of funny because the minute it hits, January 1st, business owners' mindsets shift. And it's like, even though yesterday was December 31st, it's like things shift and, growth looks different. So it's just how I can utilize myself to then also help them grow, and meet their goals in 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to kind of clarify that too. I know we're looking at 2024 and people normally shift based on budgets and stuff like that. You're more of that business management style of, hey, we're here to help your business grow, but you're not looking so much books, numbers, aspects like that, correct?
So it's not my expertise for like bookkeeping and anything like that, but I do help my clients with like, budgeting and stuff like that for like what they're spending on marketing. And it's also nice because I do have the social media side of like, okay, what's working, what's not working, and then able to kind of, figure out we need to focus more here, we need to do X, Y, and Z. So with budgeting and stuff like that, that is a way that I help them, kind of plan for 2024, but it's not obviously my expertise. It's more kind of like on the softer side of overlooking it and then offering suggestions or opinions on that aspect.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And then recommending based on like CPAs or tax
Hmm.
specialists to really work on the other side, kind of as a
Hmm.
team for them to help them out. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, with that, like looking at your business and then the way you've helped people, like what has been kind of your main, I'm trying to figure out a best way to word this. Uh, because I know you said like you really like to see people succeed. What is something that makes you happy when you're like looking at businesses and seeing their growth? Like what kind of drives you there?
Right. So yeah, so on social media, that I'll start there, I guess. But when I get on and I do like what's called Metric Monday, where I just get in on Monday morning to see like how the metrics were performing over the weekend, and I just get like so excited when the numbers are in green. And so what that means is just like the percentages are really high. And so I just get super excited because that just means that the content that is out there is reaching and people are seeing it, and it's a potential customer for, those clients within social media. But then like for my online business management, like some really exciting things are I had a client that was able to take off the full summer because I was able to kind of support her with operations, oversee her team, and all that. So that was exciting where she was able to like step back and take a needed break, but while her business didn't, kind of close or anything like that. And that's all virtual. Granted, most of her team and her business is also virtual. It wouldn't work, if you decided to take the whole summer off, that would
Right.
that would not work. But that
I mean, I
situation,
try to enjoy it.
yeah, yeah. I couldn't do any adjusting or anything like that. But so that was an exciting, achievement is, being able to fully step in and kind of work hard to be able to understand the business, understand everything that comes in and comes out. And then for her to be able to take that time off was, was really cool. And then just to see everything still continue to, move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're doing really good things, especially with those businesses. Like hearing that she's able to take the time off, like you're managing her enough to know, hey, she got to a point where she could do that. And then especially the social media stuff, like I'll tell you honestly, I have no idea, but I feel like it's a cat and mouse game. You're trying to really figure out what's
Mhm.
going on, what works. Like, does this picture work? Does this video work? And that's always a never ending process. And like hearing you say like, hey, it's green, like that just means like, hey, you got to go and get like in front of that population you want to be. It's not so much
Mhm.
like likes and comments. I think that's what most people really like to see
Yeah.
is that visualization of, hey, I have so many likes, I have so many comments
Mhm.
on my stuff.
Right. Yeah. And so with that, and it's funny because like I think about like myself, right? Like I am on social media probably all the time, whether that's looking at my business pages or, just for personal reasons. But like if I think about myself and I'm like scrolling through and I see something that resonates with me, odds are most of the time I probably am not going to like or comment on it. If it's something where I'm like, ooh, I may need this, I like put it in my head and I think about it and I'll move on, but I may not like or comment on it. And so that's one thing that like at first my clients kind of had a hard time with. Or like, we're not getting any likes, we're not getting any comments, on X, Y, and Z. But it's looking at metrics in a different way, a different viewpoint of like, behind the scenes. Like, okay, how many people saw the post? Above likes and comments, like getting the reach out there to me. Somebody may come back and say, I don't agree with that. That's fine. But for me, what I've seen, working is getting it out to as many people as possible, because odds are there's somebody within that group that could use your services, and they may not like or comment on it. They may take a screenshot and save it for a later date, or, like your page and follow your page, which a like and follow to me is more important and reach than somebody like or commenting, on a post.
Yeah, absolutely. And then definitely being present too. I think that's always the key part. Like you said, people are always scrolling, and the more present you are on stories or even
Mm-hmm.
just a post, like yeah, it's going to be there, but they might not like it. Like I know I don't do it when I'm scrolling through stuff. Like
Right.
I always see other companies or other people have liked like everything, and I'm like, how do they have the time? I'm like, oh, I probably would be the same, but I don't click the button every time, and I'm just kind of scrolling, and then I'm saving ones that I like, and then those go into my save file, and then I don't look at them from there on out.
Right.
Or unless I need content to really go back and look at and be like, hey, I want to create this stuff or redo this. Like this gave me an idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gotten pretty good now of I just kind of create my own and go off of that, which is
Yeah.
always hard. I mean, as a social media manager like yourself, like doing my own social media, like it's definitely a hard subject. I mean, I'm doing the video editing side of it, and that just even gets even harder to try to present that and know, hey, I'm not giving too much, but I'm also trying to hold
Mhm.
back a little bit to
Right.
make sure that I'm not giving the answers, but I'm also trying to help.
Right. Yes. Yes. I like to call that the know, like, trust factor, where people know who you are, they like you, and now they've trusted you. And odds are after that, there will be a sale coming. Odds are.
Well, we'd hope so. I
Yes.
put a lot of effort into videos most of the time, but it's always tough because you want to make sure you're doing it the right way and putting out
Hmm.
good
Right.
content to create, have people come in and make sure, hey, you're not giving the answers right away so that they
Right.
need your services kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yes. Love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, when we kind of look at it, what would you say is kind of, I'm kind of pausing here, sorry. Um, what would you say would be the main factors for someone needing to reach out to you, and
Mhm.
like is that someone more, hey, they're kind of struggling a little bit, or is that someone, hey, they don't have time, they need to kind of
Mhm.
unload the time and then have someone manage them? Kind of what aspects would you say that, hey, they need to jump on a call with you and then kind of really start
Mhm.
diving into their business?
Yeah. So honestly, I mean, it looks different for anyone, but I always like to say if you are for 2024 a solo business owner and you are looking for growth for, 2024, you need an online business manager, if that makes sense for, your business. But essentially those that reach out either are, working on different things that they're unable to work on what they do best, and kind of are ready to delegate stuff off of their plate, or they're like swamped and they're forgetting things and they need, systems set up to be able to not forget, certain things. Or if they have a team and they have no time to oversee them, they need somebody in their office that is essentially like a virtual business manager, but they don't have a budget to hire somebody full time in that, seat. I'll see people reach out and just to learn more about what I can do to help them. Or like with social media, I see, an average pain point, I guess you could say, of I need to get consistent, but I wear all these different hats. I don't have time. I'm not creative. I don't know what to post. There's so many different avenues for people that have reached out and they're unsure, if we'd be a good fit. And that's just where we jump on a discovery call and they kind of tell me about their business. And then I figure out, if it would be a good fit virtually. If not, then that's where maybe they hire that part-time employee or possibly a virtual assistant. But that's, for a different day of what a virtual assistant can help you with. But it's just all starts with that discovery call to even see if a virtual business manager would be beneficial for their business and or, social media, what that looks like, if it fits in their budget and if that makes sense for us to partner as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that discovery visit, do you guys jump on for like a quick
Mhm.
hour call, kind of dive into things? And is there any cost into that call?
Nope. So the discovery call is free. They're usually about an hour. Sometimes they go over if we're having good conversation and there's just a lot going on in the business. Just for me to be able to give a good recommendation. I usually say an hour, but sometimes they do go over that. And then, yeah, it's free. Just jump on. And then from there, we just kind of figure out if it's a good fit. If it is a good fit, then it kind of starts with a contract and then like a proposal of costs of services. But with my contracts, because I am a business manager and I see things on the other side, they're just month to month contracts. So I never want to get in a contract with somebody where it's not a good fit and they're not seeing results, because that's just something that I'm passionate about, is making sure that they are seeing the results and they'll want to continue, rather than, being in a 6 month to a 12-month contract and then them not seeing anything, but they're stuck in a contract and their business isn't growing, and it's not a win-win for either side. So I just do month-to-month contracts, with a 30-day notice of cancellation, just so if, I have somebody on a wait list, then I can, move them onto, services. But
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely think that's very vital for small business owners is they don't want to commit to something that's like, hey, we're 12 months to 24 months, like that's a lot of
right.
money, especially when you need to dive into something sometime. And if you don't budget that right away, it can get really scary with your
Hmm.
financials at times. So knowing
Right.
that, hey, you are that month to month, and then you can provide that amazing services for them, knowing, hey, if we don't see growth, then okay, like it's okay to let you go, or you can go
Hmm.
find something else, or you can
Right.
really work with them and hey, you're very happy with your services, we want to keep you going, stuff like that.
Right.
I think that's
Yes.
a really good point to have them, and then be that service of month to month, and then
Mhm.
making sure you're doing your job right, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been told to not do month to month, but that's just what I feel comfortable with. It's just, with small business owners, sometimes things change, finances change, and I just always want to put my best foot forward. And that's just what I believe is just month to month, to support them the best I can. If seasons change, then, and they need to go a different direction, then, hopefully they'll come back when the time is right.
Absolutely. And I think that's a key part too is you can go like, let's say you're 8 months, you're doing really well, and they, hey, well, I want to jump off and kind of try it themselves or something, and then they're like, oh, hey, I'm struggling. They can always probably come back and really rejoin, but maybe they're maybe on a wait list, but hopefully
Yeah.
they can jump back on and kind of
Right.
rehash that stuff that you were doing before to really help their business grow.
Yeah.
When we look at it, where can people really go to learn more about you and kind of Wasson Virtual Solutions?
Yeah, so they can find me on social media, Facebook or Instagram as Wasson Virtual Solutions, or my website, which is www.wassonvirtualsolutions.com. And, if anybody is interested in learning more, there is a form on the Contact Us page where you can just go ahead and fill that out with what services you are looking to learn more information about. And yeah, we could just set up a discovery call and see if we'd be a good fit.
Love it. Hey, thanks for really joining me today. You're definitely one of those elite individuals I find amongst our society, and it was a great time to have you on.
Thank you. Yes, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this so much.
Yeah, that is another episode of the Becoming Elite podcast. See you next time.